So tonight we are installing the Curt hitch receiver for the Lexus CT200h on the car. I've got the instructions here for both the hitch receiver and the wiring harness, as well as the tools they mention you needing. I've added a breaker bar. This car, from being up north, I just have a feeling I'm going to need it over just a standard size ratchet. So the part numbers I'm using for this, the main one being the hitch receiver here, is 11200. And then I also have the wiring harness, which is part number 56099. And then both a 1 7/8 inch and 2 inch ball, as well as the ball mount for it. I did not plan for these all to be Curt parts, but that's what came up and was easily findable and honestly was reasonably priced. I think this whole thing was just over $300. So that's what I went with. I'll put some of those part numbers on screen and stuff too if you're trying to do this on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. The first thing I'm going to do, and Curt actually doesn't say to do this in their instructions, but I'm going to put the back end of the car up on ramps just to make this a lot easier. Just give myself more room to work. One slid, didn't it? Not supposed to do that. This floor is slick. Okay, let's try that again. Maybe I can't put it on ramps. Just really gonna try and rock it here because I gotta make sure it's secure, which it feels good. So much more room to work than I would have had before, and that's gonna be so much easier. I just realized that the receiver comes in this big box, which is going to make an excellent place to lay down instead of laying on the floor. So I did order that ball mount, and they actually give a part number here for what they say is the correct one. Just out of curiosity, did I order the same thing without looking specifically for it? 45014. Nope, it's a little bit different. Maybe I should have gone with that part. We'll see if that causes any problems. The first thing they say to do is to remove the driver's side underbody panel. So let's start there. All right. So here's what we're looking at down here. I see what looks to be a 10mm bolt, little pop tab body fastener, another one of those here, and then way up at the top there, I see what looks like I will use maybe a large flathead to take that out. So the goal is to take off this whole plastic panel down here. So I'm going to start with the body panels, and the way I like to do these is get a screwdriver, small flathead on either side, and usually, sometimes I can get these to just pop out. Looks like this one's not going to be so nice. Next, I'm going to get this bolt that's up in here. A long bolt for a piece of plastic. I'm going to save time by using an impact. So much faster. Now, for the big screw way up there, I'm going to go grab a long, large flathead. And I'm just going to turn it as if I were undoing a screw. Oh, I just realized I missed one of the body fasteners, so let's do that. There's another one right here that I missed, and it just holds it to the wheel liner. Oh, that one came out so easy. Why can't they all be like that? There we go. That was the ticket. Just put a little bit of downward force on it. Makes it actually grab. And I'm just going to slide this whole thing out. On the other side, it's going to be these two holes up above the exhaust. So we don't have to take this other plastic panel off of the car because we already have access to those. Next thing I'll do then is get that toe loop off. Yep. Okay, they are 17s. I'm going to try with the ratchet first, though I have a feeling I might need the breaker bar for this. Oh, no, that was... what the heck? Okay, maybe this one will put up a fight. Nope, we're good. You know, I keep calling this a hitch receiver, but Curt calls it just Hitch. Maybe I'm wrong in calling it a receiver. I'm going to throw just a touch of anti-seize on all these bolts. And hopefully someday, a few years from now, I'll be thanking myself for that. Slowly but surely, it's getting a little bit further. That hole is just really not in great shape. All right, so one thing I do want to make a note of real quick. That last bolt on the passenger side kind of gave me hell getting in. Curt actually does put a note about this. I wish I had had a tap here. They say it's an M12 by 1.25. What I had to do is I had to take the bolt that came with it, run it in until it got tight, pull it out, run it in, pull it out. And it took 4 or 5 times to do that. Just get yourself a tap and some tap oil. Save yourself a lot of time. Be ready for those holes on the passenger side to be rusted or, you know, a little corroded. Now we've got all the bolts installed. This is pretty firmly in place on here. Before I go through and tighten them all down, I want to make sure that this is roughly centered. And I would say, honestly, it's pretty good there. I just wanted to check it before we went through and tightened everything. So the next thing I'm going to do is go through and torque all these bolts down. The instructions from Curt say to go 86 foot-pounds. So I'm going to start, let's go 75, and then I'll go through and hit them all at 86. So. The last step, which is 86. Yeah, I would have stopped closer to what felt like 60 foot-pounds or so. So that's why use a torque wrench, check your specs, because 86 felt way tighter than what I would have thought. That's it. The hitch receiver is on. The only instruction we have left is putting this panel back on. So with that, I'm going to move on to the wiring harness. So the first thing I'm going to do, I know this is going to have to come out, that all of this stuff needs to come out as well. Opening up packaging for the harness, we get a cover for the 4-pin flat connector, the harness itself. Got some zip ties, some crimp butt connector, eye terminal, and a little hang tag with instructions. Okay, let's see what it wants us to do. These instructions are for an HS250h, which is different from the CT200h. They're very similar, but not the same. So the question is, how much of these instructions can I follow, and how much am I going to have to figure out on my own? So I did check the website. They only have one set of install instructions. I did not see one specifically for this car. So I'm just going to kind of do this by feel, and I'm going to start just with taking off most of the interior around the tail lights, because I know that's where we need to get to. This side has a big plastic panel. There's 2 tabs, one there, one there. And by popping both of those out, there we go. There's some push pins that hold it in place. Let's take our harness apart here and see what connectors we have and see what we can find similar to that in the car. So let's look for those 6-pin connectors, and are probably behind this guy. I think this needs to come off. Yes, they all go down this way. So I'm going to take this piece of carpet off and see if we have that 6-pin connector we need back there. Oh, I think I feel it. I think it's way up here by the turn signal. Is there one of those on the other side? Okay, I think, yeah, that's where it is. So up in there is our 6-pin connector. So that's our passenger side. And I assume then that our driver's side is going to look the same. I might be able to get to this one through this panel here. Look at that, it's right there. So if you look at, I'm going to call this the male end of the harness with the pins in it, there is a little latching tab here. So when you push it in there, that clicks into place. To unlatch these, you need to push on the back of the larger side to get it out. So the side that stays connected to the car, you need to push on the top on the passenger side and the bottom on the driver's side to get that to unlatch so you can pull this out. This is going to go up underneath. We're going to plug this into there, and on the other side into the end we removed it from. So that's that side. There's one end in. Those are now both installed. What does it want me to do next? So I'm assuming this is where it wants us to toss our ring terminal. And it looks like I'll need a 12mm wrench to get that off. Did not pop right away. Means we probably got something right. So they've included some things in here that I don't think we're going to use. There is a Phillips head sheet metal looking screw, self-tapping screw, 2 butt crimp connectors, and an extra ring terminal that we put on the battery. It doesn't look like I used that, and they didn't say to use it anywhere, so I'm guessing those are extras, or if you wanted to shorten up this cable, you could do that. Oh, and you know what else they didn't say anything about? This connector over here. Let me read through the instructions. I might have just missed it. I'm not going to start pointing fingers yet. Okay, no. The instructions say nothing about that white ring terminal. I'm going to need to do some research for a minute. I assume that goes to ground somewhere. But yeah, the instructions don't say anything about that. So I did go do some research. I just looked through the reviews on the Amazon listing for the wiring harness. And someone else did mention that this needs to go to a ground point, chassis ground. So I'm just going to grab that little cargo net hookup point there. So I'm going to extend this a bit. There we go. And I'll go ahead and reattach this right away. Let's get this side of the interior all back together. Pop this panel in. And I think before I go through and tighten all this down, I would like to actually check this. Make sure it does what it's supposed to. Okay, so I've got my multimeter hooked up here. Negative to what I assume is the ground, and then red to just the first terminal. I'm going to go hit the brakes, and we'll see if that goes to 12 volts. It comes on with the running lights. Let's see what this one does. So is this turn signal? Yeah, that's left. So this is going to be my other turn signal then. Yeah. Well, I think we have a problem then. This should be on the brake lights, not the running lights. My assistant cameraman here just had an excellent idea, which is check the turn signals with the brakes. So now if I hit the brakes and that goes to 12 volts, it means I'm just the moron, and I should have just checked the pin out instead of guessing. Yeah, so the correct answer is I'm the idiot. This is all working the way it should. I should have just Googled what the pin out for this is, but what it is you have your ground, and then you have running lights, left, right, and when you hit the brakes, both left and right turn on. So if you turn on your headlights, this one, the running lights, is going to turn on. That's your dim bulb on the back. And then when you hit the brakes, both the left and right turn signals, or the bright bulb, are both going to come on at the same time. With your turn signals, those bright bulbs are going to flash on one side or the other. I'm sure anyone watching this already knew that, and they're like, yeah, you moron, of course that's how they work. But I didn't know. I've never messed with trailers before. Okay, let's get the rest of the interior put back together, but I think we're done with the light install. Okay, so now that we've got everything together, the general idea is, take your mount, throw in the ball, and this will slide right in here. And that just slides through there, and we'll throw in our cotter pin. And there we go. In theory, assuming the car can handle it, this should be good for 2,000 pounds of trailer weight and 200 pounds of tongue weight. So yeah, that's everything finished and installed. We've got our lighting wire there, which trunk can just close on that. and it's not really pinching it too hard or anything. Receiver's installed. Mount and everything is all put together. I think that's everything. I don't have anything to hook up and tow with it right now. I'll put links in the description for all this stuff if you guys need it. If you have one of these cars and you need to tow something small with it. Hopefully I'll have something to share in the near future of what I'll be pulling with this or what I hope to be pulling with this. So that's it for now. See ya.